If you're on Bitbucket and you go looking for an AI code review tool, the first thing you notice is that most comparison articles are secretly about GitHub. You'll read a short list of 10 tools, get halfway down, and realize 2 of the names you were most curious about don't touch Bitbucket at all. They're GitHub-only. So the real Bitbucket shortlist is shorter than the internet makes it look. But that's actually good news, because it means the decision gets cleaner, not harder, once you know what to filter on. The hard part of software was never writing the code, it was trusting it. Anyone or anything can produce a diff now. Someone still have to vouch for the code before it ships. That's what a code review tool is really for. Not to generate more, but to help you earn the right to merge. Which is why supports Bitbucket is a nearly useless line on a feature table. It can mean it's a webhook that points to a single comment, or it can mean a tool that lives natively inside your pull requests, triggers off your pipelines, and talks to Jira. There are 4 levels of integration depth that matter when looking for a tool for Bitbucket. First, do the findings show up as a native inline comments right inside the Bitbucket pull request, organized by severity? Or do they live on a separate dashboard that nobody opens? If your reviewers have to leave PR to see the review, they won't. Second, does it actually connect to Bitbucket pipelines? So the review just runs when a PR opens with no need for a second CI system to babysit. Third, Jira. You're almost certainly on Jira if you're on Bitbucket. Can a finding link to a Jira issue, map its severity, and check if changes are compliant with the requirements? Or is that something you will actually need to write yourself? And fourth, how far does the integration actually go? What about Bitbucket Data Center, the self-hosted edition? If your code can't leave your own infrastructure, this single question will decide everything else. Once you apply those filters, the field sorts itself out fast. Copilot Review and Graphite drop off immediately. They're GitHub-only. SonarQube stays on the list, but it's doing a different job: security and quality scanning. Not AI-driven pull request review. So think of it as something you run alongside AI Reviewer, not instead of one. Sorcery is a genuinely nice fit if you're a Python-heavy team, though it's thin on the enterprise side. That leaves us with 2 tools, doing native AI review on Bitbucket: Qodo and CodeRabbit. They're both credible on Bitbucket Cloud. The daylight between them shows up on the 2 dimensions that are hardest to add later: Jira depth, and whether the tool can run self-hosted at all. Let me show you what native actually looks like, and then why deployment quietly makes the decision for a lot of teams. So this is how a pull request on Bitbucket looks like when Qodo interacts with it. We can take a look at the history, and you'll find that Qodo already left some comments, and then provided a review of all the findings. The most interesting one in this particular case is the Cross-Repo conflict. So while the change on this pull request looks really clean and nothing screams trouble, this change would actually break my other repository. It breaks the contract between those 2, and Qodo is able to find this kind of problem. So while this change was made on my API server, an AI review is able to flag the fact that this would break my web client. Besides this, Qodo does not just flag issues based on what AI generates, but it actually tracks your rules. So the suggestions for code changes are based on what you have already established. So notice what that was and what it wasn't. The findings are living inside the Bitbucket pull request. They're grouped by severity, so a reviewer reads the important ones first. And at least one of them is tied to a rule your team wrote down, not just a model's opinion that day, which is the difference between a suggestion and something you can actually enforce. The one I'd specially point at is the Cross-Repo finding. While the diff is clean, tests pass, and nothing is wrong inside this repository, there's a change that breaks service 2 repos over. Qodo caught it at a review time because it maps how your repositories actually depend on each other. That bug is invisible to any tool that only reads the repo in front of it, and if you run more than one service, that's exactly where your production incidents come from. Here's the filter that narrows the field faster than anything else. Where can the tool run? On Bitbucket Cloud, you've got options. But the same reasons a company chooses self-hosted Bitbucket, compliance, security, data residency, are the reasons they can't use a cloud-only reviewer. If you're on Bitbucket Data Center, your requirements are concrete. On-premise or private cloud deployment, because the code can't be sent to an external API. Air-gapped support, because there may be no outbound internet at all. Audit logging, because review decisions have to be traceable. And SSO, because it has to sit inside your existing identity setup. Of the AI review tools in this comparison, Qodo is the only one with verified data and on-premise support, air-gapped environments included. SonarQube has a data center edition, but again, that's the static analysis layer, not an AI review. Every other dedicated AI reviewer in this category is cloud only. So for regulated work, financial services, healthcare, defense, government, this isn't a nice to have on a comparison sheet, but the deciding factor, and it quietly makes the choice for you. None of that makes CodeRabbit a bad tool. If you're a small or mid-sized team on a Bitbucket cloud who just wants faster, more thorough reviews on individual pull requests, it's a genuinely capable option. It does help to know where it stops though. No data center, so self-hosted teams are out. No on-premise, so air-gapped is out. Jira integration is lighter, findings don't flow into Jira workflows without extra configuration. And the review scope is bounded to the current repository, so the Cross-Repo catch you just saw isn't on the table. For a single repo cloud team, none of that may matter, but the moment any one of those becomes a hard requirement, you're looking at a different category of a tool. So where does that leave you? The pattern that holds across every team, I'd advise, is this. Qodo is the AI review and governance layer, whichever Bitbucket edition you run. The security and static analysis layer, SonarQube, Snyk, semgrep, checkmarks, whichever fits, sits alongside it doing a different job. Almost no serious Atlassian setup is a one-tool answer, and that's fine. If you're leaning hard on Jira, the two-way linking is where Qodo pulls ahead. If you've got multiple services sharing contracts, cross-repo context is the whole point. And if you're on data center or in a regulated environment, the list was already down to 1 before you started comparing features. Look past the supports Bitbucket badge on the homepage. The real question is whether you can trust how it behaves inside the workflow and the infrastructure that your team already runs on.